Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for viewing dawahworks. I'm your host, Saudi Mam. Today's topic, the Ramadan Conundrum. Let's get to it, shall we? Many remain silent for fear of being labeled politically incorrect. That's why I come in. And oh, by the way, I'm just saying. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Shahru Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran, huda lin-nas. Islam is to submit your wills, wants, and desires to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is in direct conflict with those who believe in living a free and unfettered life. As Muslims, we choose to live within the hudud of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the kuffar wish to live a life free of responsibilities and consequences. Come to think of it, I can see now why most of them would choose a religion that says someone else died for their sins, or a religion that says that just because you are part of a certain tribe and race, that in and of itself is enough for salvation. I'm just saying. In any case, we Muslims choose to live a disciplined and structured life based on what was revealed to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Already the kuffar find it hard to believe that we would choose to live a structured and disciplined life versus a free, untethered, and gay life. That we as Muslims cannot go door to door knocking trying to find a sex partner, male or female. That we as Muslims cannot imbibe all different kinds of poisons and intoxicants, attempting to escape life's inevitable realities. Or that we do not inject or ingest even prescribed medications, seeking the ever-elusive utopian lifestyle of perpetual happiness. But we as Muslims realize that true sa'ada is earning the pleasure of your Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm just saying. We Muslims choose to live a life measuring things by the halal and the haram. Also choosing to measure actions by the fard, haram, mandub, makruh, or mubah. And this lifestyle will keep us safely nestled within the hudud of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that we may gain success in the hayat dunya wa al-akhirah. I'm just saying. Then comes Ramadan, a month in which things that are normally halal or actions that are mubah become haram from Fajr to Maghrib. By Sharia definition, as-siyam, or the fasting, means to abstain from all of those things and actions that would break the fast, from Fajr to Maghrib, with ikhlas niyah. I'm just saying. Now, as far as haram things and actions, those should be avoided even outside of the Ramadan if you truly are a submitter to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in the month of Ramadan, even things that are halal wa tayyib, or actions that are otherwise mubah, become haram, haram, haram during the month of Ramadan, such as eating, drinking. And no, kafirs, I ain't talking about alcohol, or relations with your spouse. And no, kafirs, I ain't talking about a spouse of the same gender. I'm just saying. So every year, one of the 12 months, for either 29 or 30 days, the hudud of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is even more restricted for the believers. From Fajr to Maghrib. During the month of Ramadan, every believer declares their intentions, either that night before sleep or that morning when they awaken, to fast that day for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He or she awakens and takes suhoor before the time of Fajr prayer begins. He or she then goes about their day, engaging in only mubah, fard, or mandub actions, avoiding anything haram or even makruh, all for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, going about their normal routines, trying to stay even more conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, up until the time of Maghrib, after which we break our fast. This can be done at home or out with your family, or in Jamaat in the masjid. After Isha prayer, we are encouraged to join the Tarawih in order to earn more and more blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this blessed month of Ramadan. Standing in Qiyam, listening to the verses that were revealed to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, silently keeping your peace. I'm just saying. And any time after Maghrib, you are allowed to enjoy all of those things that Allah Ta'ala permits you as believers in Him, Azza wa Jal, such as eating, drinking, or approaching your spouses. I choose not to go too much into detail, for there are many videos by more knowledgeable brothers and sisters on the internet in which we all can learn from. Let's recap. As believers in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we choose to live a constricted life within the hudud of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the kuffar choose to live a life fulfilling every desire imaginable, either of good or the bad. But during the blessed month of Ramadan, we are asked as believers to even abandon those things that are normally permissible and lawful in order to seek more and more reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or to further prove ourselves as true submitters to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm just saying. All year, the kuffar were just getting used to us not drinking with them, not smoking with them, not injecting drugs with them, not having unlawful sex with them, not sharing a smothered pork sandwich with them, not wife swapping with them, or not having illegitimate children with them. Then comes the month of Ramadan, in which us Muslims are asked to further submit to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and restrict ourselves from those things that are usually mubah as far as actions are concerned, or halal as far as items are concerned. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, which should not be mistaken as a reason for the fasting, but as an expected result from our obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm just saying. And by the way, I would be remiss if I didn't mention this hadith. Therefore, if you are working at a corner store, selling liquor, lottery, and pork, you ain't fasting Ramadan. And if you are a Muslim woman, not observing al-khimar or al-hijab properly, you ain't fasting Ramadan. This ain't from me. This is what the hadith says. I'm just saying. Lastly, I would like to make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts from us our fast this Ramadan. And to all believers, Ramadan Mubarak. This has been Saudi Man for Dawahworks. Assalamu alaikum.